shattered by those who had been so far twisted. We gather today to honor freedom. The ability to live how one chooses, to love how one chooses, and to speak one's mind freely, all without restraint. The freedom of those we honor was never fully realized, but this is a day of remembrance and celebration nonetheless. As much as they continued to endure the horror of being made out to be less than human, they continued to grow love warriors who would speak the truth with a fire of an oppressed people who had had enough. The artists who sang with soul, the prophets who brought us the word of God, and the children who reminded us to love without condition, all unwavering in their pursuit to fully realize a new world. As we reflect on the horrors of the past, it is important to reflect on where we've come since then. Have we yet achieved the freedom owed to us all as a result of being a human being born into this world? I was born and raised here in New Hampshire, hopping from rental to rental because we could never truly afford to stay where we were staying, going weeks, eating scraps, never truly settling down. My mother worked as many jobs as she could just to keep our nose out of the water, but we still found ourselves drowning. Waking up every day knowing that you will do nothing but work, think about work, or pay a bill using the fruits of your work, only to repeat the cycle the next day. And on the rare event you get a day off, you're worried about losing time that could be used to catch up on other bills, housework, or other things that are overwhelming your mind. Watching a world with technology from a science fiction novel of the 20th century up and forget about you. Listening to news which is not relevant to you or your struggles, feeling alone and broken. This is your world. It is all you can see. And shortly after high school, you come to accept that your life will be lived in the service of another's pursuit for power. Freedom. Freedom to use your only spending power to buy a life-saving medicine from someone just trying to make a buck off of your own sickness. The freedom to give everything you've earned away for the leftovers of those with everything. Your basic needs locked behind a paywall with the twisted smile of the oligarchs looking down on you as you sit there struggling. The sedatives of the modern world, the computer, your phone, the push-to-start car, the widescreen television, the chic clothes, the opioids given out with glee, the weapons, all of it, built off the backs of people you will never see, with harrowing stories you will never hear, put together using the hands of children who know nothing but a smog-filled walk down their factory floor building objects they will never see, that they will never use, for cents that can be used only to feed themselves to get to the next day. These objects make their way to us on the grandest ships ever to sail the ocean, barreling through entire ecosystems to bring you and I our distraction. Pumping fuel into our oceans, these distractions keeping us engaged in a world of enforced fiction, giving us an out to focusing on the brutality required to maintain our false comforts. The policies which legalize this horror, passed by figureheads put in office using the capital of multinational corporations which hold allegiance to no flag or nation. Figureheads who use pretty words and sacred buildings to put on a show of gridlock when it comes to the issues of poverty, while siphoning nearly all of our tax dollars to fund the most brutal wars that this planet has ever seen, destroying entire regions of this earth to gather oil and resources necessary to maintain these false comforts. With no second thought, the corporations firebombed the cradle of our civilization, Mesopotamia, subjecting those people to decades of instability, and with no guilt, moving on to the next. As we speak, our tax dollars fund the Saudi regime and its non-stop bombing of Yemen, a country most of us probably have never even heard about, and the starvation of its people, Our military uses siege warfare in Syria to stop resources from entering a country, a tactic used in the Dark Ages. All of this under the guise of bringing about democracy. Billions of dollars of our dollars shelled out in blank checks to authoritarian, brutal regimes across the world. Again, all in the name of American values, of democracy. Soldiers who come from poverty told that they can get a better life if they join to quote unquote protect and defend their nation. Sent off to a faraway desert believing you're there to crush an enemy which threatens you and your family, ordered to invade people's homes only to see the pictures of their family on the wall, the altars, the dinner table left with food on them, the hole in their roof from a drone strike that they had no idea was coming. Realizing what you have done, realizing that they are just as poor as you, that they are no different than you are, and that the threat that comes not from them, but from those who gave the order, only to come home and be hailed as a hero. All at the behest of corporate oligarchs who seek total control, who care not about you nor them, who cares not what they've inflicted, who cares not when that soldier comes home to kill themselves after finding themselves unable to cope with such a reality. My story of a family in poverty merely existing to work is far from unique. It is the story of billions of people worldwide. It is at this moment the story of humanity. While BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, the three largest Wall Street firms, buy up every corporation and business in this country to the tune of $23 trillion, a number hard to comprehend for even the most well-read accountant. Humanity drowns. This is not freedom, nor is it democracy. It is oligarchy, plain and simple, and we must call it out as such. We all feel the overwhelming nature of the times we're in, the impossibility of the situation, and how fast we are all sinking. The cloud of apathy hovers over us all. This is a moment where we all need to ground ourselves in the courage of our ancestors, all the ancestors who fought for freedom wherever they found themselves, those who never conceded their spirit. It's time for us as the love warriors of the day to be love warriors. We must stand up with our back up strong and proclaim that we are more than this. Ready to face the dogs, ready to face the batons, whatever they may throw at us, because we will never let our spirit die, because we will never let our voice be quieted, because we are human beings of the toughest cloth and the will of thousands of years of oppressed people ready to say enough. We cannot allow the life of the slave who gave up, or the child who never saw the mountaintop. Those with a radical love for all, their lives and deaths cannot be in vain. We have to look within and deal with our own cowardice. A cowardice which causes us to make decisions based on whether or not it is safe, whether or not it will be liked, whether or not it is comfortable or politically expedient. The majority of us do not have the luxury of those choices. The majority of us need our shared courage in this moment to survive. The Goliath, which is multinational corporations, the oil barons, pharma, prison executives, the oligarchs that run those corporations, know that they are at the end of the game. There aren't very many places left to slap concrete onto. The drilling has destroyed the water, making it undrinkable for millions across the world, including people here in New Hampshire. The chemicals pumped into the air and ground from chemical plants have decimated the food we eat and the air we breathe. It was mud season in January, for God's sakes. There's only so much time left, and they know it just as well as we do. Why else would they be getting into spaceships to try and escape this planet? So, how do we create a beloved community where there is clearly none? The answer to me comes from the past, and I think of the American slave, who despite centuries of servitude did not throw up their hands and say, "Oh, I'm tired, I can't do it anymore, I'm done." No, when they were told they were equal to a pig, they said, "No, I am more." No matter how much a man was beaten for standing up for his wife, he continued to stand the next day until they shot him. No matter how often they told that they could not read, they read. No matter how often they told they could not sing, they sang. They stood up with the spirit of a people and did not let anyone hold them back. Against a machine doing everything it could to dehumanize them in the most violent of ways, they never conceded their spirit, never gave an inch on their humanity. Their will brought them through the darkest of eras, and they found a horizon. Amidst the crack of a whip, they still sang. They found community where there was none, not under the idea that they would be out of slavery one day, not in revenge nor malice towards the oppressor. No, they found community in love, in unconditional and radical love for one another. Solidarity in the idea that they were in this together. And on those hot, humid nights in the plantation, lying on the hay outside, looking above at the sky and its infinite glory, feeling alone, broken, just about to believe what the master told you about the pig when you hear a voice beside you, singing a quiet hymn to themselves. The deep voice of another joins in, and then the high pitch of a child, and another voice, and another, and the other, and all of the worries of the day prior, all of the horror just wash away. And instead, a symphony of love, knowing they'll be beaten worse come daylight, and singing nonetheless. Singing to build community, to heal the spirit, the broken voices, all those lonely people coming together in a harmony of resistance. And as we find ourselves in our own impossible situation, as the oligarchs squeeze the lemon the final time and the rise of authoritarianism threatens our very world with nuclear weapons and tyranny, we can either be the first generation in the history of humanity to put our hands up and concede, or we can be David and take on Goliath with an orchestra of voices from all people, black, white, gay, straight, Asian American, Native American, wherever you are, wherever you find yourselves, singing a hymn of brotherhood, ready to take on the world, standing up for humanity, reaching the mountaintop, and bringing about the beloved community that we all seek. We just got to sing. Thank you very much.